What's going on YouTube? Masex back with another video, and today we're going to be looking at MEL Kiper's recently released top 7 quarterbacks for the 2024 class. If you know MEL Kiper, he's been doing this for a very long time. I think since my parents were in jammies. He's a very polarizing guy. A lot of people love him, a lot of people hate him, but hey, at the end of the day, he puts in hours and hours upon hours studying these guys. And for example, the quarterback position is probably the hardest position to project from college to the NFL. So today we're going to be looking at the top 7 prospects. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe to this video. It helps the channel grow, and we are on the road to 1K. So I deeply appreciate that. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, hopping straight into it at number 7, MEL Kiper has Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington, listed at 6'3", 214 pounds. Started his collegiate career at IU. Last year in 2022, transferred to Washington, and it's been pretty much glory ever since for his career. Has been balling out, off to a very hot start, and I'm not going to post their stats to this point because all the quarterbacks right now that we're going to be talking about have great stats. Once we get into conference play, then statistics will have a little bit more merit. But Michael Penix Jr. definitely turned his career around. His first 4 years at IU was riddled by injury. I believe literally every season was ended due to a season-ending injury. One of the older prospects in this class, the quarterback position, I do feel that it's not as big of a deal. Quarterbacks generally have a longer life expectancy at the pro level, particularly if they're showing the talent and displaying that they belong in the NFL. But Michael Penix, a smooth lefty, can sling the ball. One of the top passers in the entire nation last year. Looks like it's going to be the same case this year. Most likely will be a Heisman finalist. I'm not too sure what his ceiling would be at the NFL level, but I do feel that Michael Penix has proved that he belongs at the NFL level. At number 6, we have Bo Nix out of Oregon, listed at 6'2", 213 pounds. Started his collegiate career at Auburn. Very mediocre, didn't live to the expectations in the SEC. And I'll say in the new NIL transfer era, it's revived a lot of these quarterbacks that it wouldn't have, in my opinion, prior to the new rules and whatnot, because kind of similar to Michael Penix, comes to Oregon and has just lit it up ever since. Highly touted 4-star recruit. I do feel that this year will be another great year. Last year, 3,400 yards, 27 passing touchdowns, over 500 yards on the ground. Off to a really good start this year. Really flourishing in the Oregon system. I mean, honestly, just a year ago, Bo Nix wasn't even on any NFL radar. So it's really admirable to see how he's turned his career around. His ceiling at the next level, to me, I'm not too sure of that. I honestly like Michael Penix more than Bo Nix. Bo Nix is definitely NFL worthy, and I could see him being a late day 2, early day 3 type of quarterback if I had to project in my personal opinion. So I can't fault MEL Kiper right here. At number 5, MEL Kiper has Riley Leonard out of Duke, listed at 6'4", 212 pounds. Now, Riley Leonard is somebody, for me, that's new. I don't know too much about him outside of that Clemson game. Huge upset victory over Clemson. I think that was the start to putting Riley Leonard on the map. According to MEL Kiper, we need to be paying attention to him. Now, last year, 20 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, almost 700 yards on the ground, and another 13 touchdowns. So that's as dual threat as it gets. He displayed that in the season opener against Clemson with his legs and in his arm. Has really good size. I mean, the last Duke quarterback that we saw was Daniel Jones with NFL potential. So Riley Leonard, somebody that I'm personally going to pay a little bit more attention to, really see what he's about. But Riley Leonard right now is at number 5 for MEL Kiper. At number 4, we have Quinn Evans out of Texas. Quinn Evans, I like him, but when I watch him play, because he's so inconsistent, I don't know if he'll even be one of those guys that becomes an early declare. In the past, I've shown mock drafts where he's even as high as top 10 in the projections, but
the more he plays, the more I kind of scratch my head and just wonder, will he even be an early declare, let alone a first-round pick? Out of high school, had a perfect rating from 24/7, leaves early to go to Ohio State, more of a money grab, knew he wasn't going to play. Then after that year, comes to Texas, which was last season. And I think Quinn Ewers still being projected by a lot of people like Mel Kiper, as you see, is purely projection. They see the talent. He has the 5-star perfect rating pedigree and has a lot of the traits that you want to see in a franchise quarterback. But I'm still not as sold as maybe I was in the past.
At number 3, we have probably the biggest riser in all of college football, and that's Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado, listed at 6'2", 215 pounds. Shedeur Sanders and Colorado as a whole has pretty much shook up the world to this point. At the time of this recording, they're going into a game against Colorado State, in which I project him to ball out in that game as well. It's only been 2 games and already has thrown over 900 yards. The guy is the real deal, and I made a video about Shedeur Sanders before the season started as one of the 5 guys that you need to pay attention to, because I feel he can definitely break out and get on everybody's radar. And he's already Mel Kiper's number 3 ranked quarterback, which means he probably, if he stays at this point, maybe even higher, who knows, he's going to be a top half day 1 pick. He's a guy that can use his legs, but he definitely prefers to stay in the pocket. Kind of similar to Bryce Young, and he reminds me of a young Steve McNair. But he can sling it. When he scrambles out of the pocket, maneuvers through the defensive line, his eyes remain upfield. And those are traits you can tell that he watches film. You can tell that he practices on his craft. It's well noted that he's worked with legends like Tom Brady, for example. He puts a lot into his craft, and it's showing off so far on the field. And a lot of questions, even that I questioned, was, hey, how is he going to fare at the Power 5 level after dominating Jackson State for 2 years? And so far, it's not too much for him, and it looks pretty easy out there putting up the video game numbers. So he's one of my favorite players in all of college football, and I'm looking forward to watching this season and seeing how well he's able to do. Right now, he's at number 3. All right, in number 2, Mel Kiper has Drake May out of North Carolina, listed at 6'4", 230 pounds. Not off to the hottest start. His stock has dropped. People are starting to push him down in the rankings. I'm not panicking. I feel that he's displayed enough talent to show that he has a very high ceiling. Once it gets time for the next level, really good size. He has a rocket of an arm. He can run. I think that he's a really good quarterback prospect, so I'm not worried about the slow start. Now, of course, we still have to let this season play out. A young guy, this is only his 3rd year, and I just feel that his ceiling is one of those. I agree with Mel Kiper. I'd have him as my number 2 quarterback in this class. And I just really think that he's one hell of a prospect, and he's going to be a top 10 pick next year when it's all said and done. If you really watch the games, he can make every throw, short, intermediate, deep routes. He's got what it takes to be a franchise quarterback if you're projecting towards the future, and I really like Drake May. And Mel Kiper's number 1 ranked quarterback for the 2024 class, you guessed it, that's Caleb Williams out of USC, listed at 6'1", 220 pounds. I guarantee you he's probably closer to 6 foot even, maybe even under 6 foot. 3 games in, I mean, he's off to a dominant start. 12 touchdown passes in only 3 games. Last year in 2022, Heisman Trophy winner. He's the favorite to win it again. To this point, it's been nothing but video game numbers. Like I said, all the quarterbacks we're talking about today are highly talented and they're dominating so far. We'll see as the season progresses and we get into conference play. Caleb Williams is pretty much the locked and loaded number 1 pick. Guys like Mel Kiper and those alike have pretty much penciled him in as the number 1 pick. There's really nothing he can do that will move him from the number 1 pick. So he's not just the number 1 quarterback in this class, but he is the number 1 prospect in this class. I've said before many times, he's box office. You have to get your popcorn ready. He's fun to watch. He extends plays that shouldn't be extended. He makes plays that you are in awe and wonder how the hell did he just make that play. He's got the personality, the charisma on top of that. So I think that he's the full package.
and a lot of people compare him to Patrick Mahomes because of the arm angles. He can make pretty much every throw on the field. He has a beautiful arm. He's what you want to see in a franchise quarterback. There you have it. Mel Kiper's top 7 QB prospects for 2024. I really like Mel Kiper. Of course, he's had some memorable, noticeable, meme-like misses, but who hasn't if you've been doing something over 40 years? You're not going to get everything right. I personally think Jordan Travis belongs in this list. I want to see what you guys think. Like, who are some guys that you agree with, and who are some guys that he left off of his top 7 that you think are definitely worthy of being in that top 7? I just want to hear your guys' opinions. So let me know in the comment section below. But that's pretty much it for today's video. If you made it this far, I deeply appreciate it. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, as this helps the channel grow, and you'll be notified of more football content in the future. But I hope y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all in the next video.